Hey y'all, it's Willie from Willie's Restaurant in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. In this video, we're going to use our Blackened Cajun seasoning, we're going to use our Cajun salt, and we're going to create two dishes that become one. Blackened catfish and crawfish etouffee to make the Catfish Acadiana. Catfish Acadiana is one of my favorite dishes. I'm super excited to show you how to make it. It's everything about Louisiana in one plate. So these are the ingredients that we're going to use in our cook today. We have some crawfish tails. We also have some stock. You can replace seafood with chicken if you can't find seafood stock. But the most important stock, in my opinion, to all dishes is vegetable. Vegetable stock is super important to add that depth of flavor. We have our Trinity here, and then we have the Pope. Garlic, always got to bring the Pope to the party. And then finally we have rice. Then we also have our seasonings here. Each one we'll use in a different way for this dish. Depending on who you're feeding, it's going to depend on which seasoning we use. Let's do it! Okay, so we have a half cup of dry rice. Pour it in. Then we just want to do 3 cups of water. We're going to give that a little stir with our wooden spoon. And we'll keep it on a medium to high heat, put our lid on, bring it to a simmer, 15 minutes and turn it off. Trust me, I've learned one thing from my mother-in-law. It's if you don't use timers, it will burn. All right, so our 15-minute timer went off. You can tell that there's no water on top of the rice. It's got its holes, it was bubbling. So I turned that off. It will sit there until we're ready to serve now, so do not remove the lid. All right, so we're going to saute our vegetables. So you could go and pull out your fried oil super cheap and just put a little bit on the bottom. You can use olive oil or avocado oil if you're a little bit fancier. All those have a higher burn temperature. And we're just gonna put just a little bit, maybe a tablespoon to the bottom of our pan, just enough to coat it. One key note, make sure your pan is pretty hot before you add your oil. And now we're gonna add our vegetables. Now with onions, I like to cook my onions first and give them a little bit of extra time to caramelize. This adds a little bit of sweet to our dish to balance out the spice that we're going to put in. So we'll saute these onions for about 3 or 4 minutes. We just want to get a little bit of color. So when you start seeing it get a little brown, that's good. Now we're ready to add our bell pepper and celery. This will complete the Trinity. We went ahead and combined all that. We're going to probably go about 10 minutes with all our vegetables. We have not added our garlic. Now, cooking is about fun. So if you have a pan like this, you can practice your toss technique to mix it. And you go slow, you just push it out and pull it back, okay? And if you spill it everywhere, who cares? You're in your kitchen, it doesn't matter, you're having fun. That's the point. Okay, so we've cooked our vegetables for about 10 minutes. Now we're gonna add about 5 cloves of minced garlic. Out on any of that. So with garlic, we really only need to get it opened up, get the flavors opened up. So we only need to give it about a minute. Now we need to add our butter. Okay, so now is when I'll turn my temperature down. I'm ready to add a whole stick of butter. Okay, so we have our vegetable stock here, and we have our flour. This is just an all-purpose flour that we had in the cabinet. What we're gonna do is bind this butter and all these flavors together with the flour, and then we're gonna start creating our gravy with the vegetable stock. And we just wanna take about 5 tablespoons of flour. And we'll spread that around. And if you have a little extra, all that's gonna do is just make more sauce. Okay. I'll spread that, cover that, all that evenly with a coat of flour. Okay, now, if you don't have a whisk, it's okay. You can push it around with the wooden spoon. And what this should have is a wet mud texture. And you'll see it's coming together. It's thicker, but you can still see the butter in there a little bit. And then now what we're gonna do is add a little bit of stock at a time. So a little splash. And just mix that in, and you'll see it starting to get extremely thick. Okay. Add a little more. See, it's still very, very thick. We're going to add vegetable stock until it starts to look liquid again. That's going to be about 2 cups. Okay, so now we've got it, our 2 cups, almost exactly 2 cups, and we've got it back to a liquid state. Now we're going to add a little seafood stock. So just like with the vegetable stock, you want to add a little bit at a time. And now we're trying to get our sauce to the right consistency that we want. So you want to get it to a point where it's a little thicker than you'd like, and then turn it off and come back when you're ready to eat and add that little bit extra stock. So we're gonna add 2 cups of seafood stock as well, and it's beginning to look a little bit like an étouffée. Okay, and now we're ready to add our crawfish. Okay, so we also keep a little bit of our stock as reserve because we don't know how much water is going to be in your crawfish tails. So if we add more, if it has more water content, it's going to make your sauce thinner. So I have some washed crawfish tails. So 1 pound of crawfish tails. And we're just heating up these crawfish tails. So we're putting them in here. We're going to cook it about 5 minutes and it'll be ready to serve. So we'll turn that off and then we will begin cooking our catfish. Okay. We're also going to add some of our Cajun salt seasoning at this point. It's going to take about probably 3 tablespoons, but we're going to go 1 tablespoon at a time. And I just put that in there like that. Give it a stir. And I will come back and taste in just a moment after that simmers for a second. Okay, we're gonna add a little bit more because I thought it was a little bland, so we're gonna add another tablespoon. And I think it needs a little more after tasting it. We're gonna add that third tablespoon. So we need to start our catfish portion of this. We need to season our catfish. What I did here is I went ahead and dried them and got them really dry because if they have a lot of water, your seasoning isn't gonna stick well and it's not gonna cook well because we're adding water to oil. They don't mix. All right, so in the meantime of us seasoning our catfish, we need to get our skillet extremely hot. So we wanna turn it on high and we're just gonna leave it there. So we take our blackened Cajun seasoning and we're gonna coat both sides of our catfish. Now, 2 sides of catfish. You have the flat side and then you have a rounded side. We wanna put the rounded side down first. We also don't wanna overcrowd our pan, so we wanna put 1 piece in at a time. We have our pan getting hot. The minute our pan starts to smoke, that means it's time to add the oil and then add the fish. Okay, so now we have our skillet very hot, so we're gonna add a little of our canola oil, and we want to just coat the bottom. And we want to take this, we want to put our rounded edge down first. And you should hear that sizzle right away. That means you got your oil right. And we're going to do 3 minutes each side. Okay, on your flip, make sure your edges are loose so that you can get a cleaner flip. If your catfish breaks, it's okay, guys. It's not the end of the world. Remember, like our favorite painter used to say, these are happy mistakes. Seared piece of catfish. All right, so we're gonna flip it, flip your fish, and we should see a nice blackened char on the other side. There we go. That's perfectly seared. That's gonna be excellent. Okay, so we need to add a little oil. We don't need to scrape the bottom of the pan. It's just fine. Just add a little oil right there where it's dry in the middle. There we go. We're ready to add our second piece. Remember, curve side down. Push it where you need it to fit. And we're gonna give 3 minutes each side. Okay, so when you're going to flip, make sure you get all your edges loose because sometimes the piece will stick. And our goal is to try to have it flip whole. Get up underneath it good. Put your fingers there and give a nice flip. There we go. We got a little good blackened sear here and a lot of wonderful flavor. Okay, so we're about a minute away from this being finished. So we want everything hot. So we got our skillet over here reheating. We'll put that on low. Now that we're a minute out, we're going to remove our lid from our nice rice. You see that it's still got heat? Look at that. No water, perfectly cooked, every individual grain. Right in the middle. A little bit more. Big boy. We're going to get our fish. Go underneath your fish. Be careful. Get that right on top of here. Perfect. I'm going to come over to our HUA. Pour that right on top. Now make sure you leave a couple of pieces of fish that don't have sauce so you can try both kinds, with and without. Then you just take a little green onion and parsley. You spread that over. Now this is my personal little touch also. So take a little spicy Cajun, and I want to sprinkle a little bit on that top because I personally like it just a little bit spicier. And I just do a light shake until it starts to come out, and then I just go across the whole thing. And that is the kick that I need. I hope you guys enjoy it. It's one of my favorite dishes, classic Louisiana. If you try the recipe and love it, or you want to see other recipes, please like and subscribe. You can also find us online on Instagram and Facebook at Willie.siana. And our website is Willie.siana.com. Good punchline today. I need like years of practice. Unfortunately, I'm cooking in my sister's kitchen, so I'm not going to clean up. Yeah, you should video me clean it. Something funny. It's like, well, if I'm going to eat it, I need to eat it.